Hi, this is Christine. It is October 17, 2014. It's in the evening. I want to share something that came to me yesterday and then again today, but in a different way. Yesterday I went for a walk, and while I was walking, things just started going through my head. It's about people being saved. And this is this is just the basic salvation plan, so to speak. What was going through my head is, say you're in debt and you owe like $1 million or more than that if you're somebody who has millions. It's some kind of an amount that there's like no way that you could ever pay for it, pay it back. And even if you have the money, the bill keeps going up. So there's like no way that you'll ever be able to pay it back. And as a result, you're in jail, in a prison, like a debtor's prison, because you owe and there's no way you can pay it back. Then somebody comes along and tells you, you know what, I have the money to pay your debt and plenty more where that came from, and I will pay it and release you from this prison. There's two types of reactions. The person in the jail, either he's going to come out and be very, very thankful to that man who paid his debt and set him free and let him out of the prison, and he's going to say, you know what, I will work for you. I will do it willingly, voluntarily, of a free heart, because I am so thankful that you got me out of this prison. Or the other person might just go out of prison and not really think anything of it, not really be appreciative of it, and they just walk away. They're free, but they walk away sort of in an unthankful mindset. That's what Jesus did for us. Our debt is the sin, for the wages of sin are death, and all of us are appointed to die. Some of us die in our 70s, some die earlier, some die when you get hit by a bus. Everybody's going to die. That is our penalty, our jail sentence. The other thing I saw while I was still walking was people in like a dark ocean, sort of like a Titanic. They had fallen overboard, and there was a ship that was coming to rescue them, though. It wasn't the sinking Titanic. It was a different ship that was didn't have any problems. It was coming to the aid and to the rescue. And the people were in the water, and you could see that sharks were starting to circle them. Some people knew it, and they wanted out of the water, and other people didn't. They were just swimming, didn't think anything of it. They didn't realize the sharks were watching them and circling them and, just sort of waiting for their moment to attack. But the people who knew about it and wanted out, they were calling to the people on the boat and saying, help us, save us. So people threw lifesavers, those white lifesaver rings. They threw them. It's actually Jesus who's on the ship, and he's throwing you the lifesaver. But he can also do it through other people on the ship, meaning other people who have already gotten saved, and they want to help those who are still in a lost state. So they were throwing these lifesavers, these round lifesavers, off into the water, and people were grabbing onto them. And then, the rope that was attached to the lifesaver, you started pulling on it on the ship. You started pulling on it, and it would bring the person closer until eventually you pulled them on board and got them onto the ship. There's a few things that happen when you're on the ship. First of all, the Lord he puts a blanket around you because you're freezing cold. You're soaking wet from the cold ocean water. So he puts a blanket around you first, and then, first he saves you, then he puts the blanket around you so that you have some warmth. Then he says, you know what, I'm going to get you some new clothes, some dry clothes. And if you need to, you can even go take a shower, get washed off, whatever. But he gives you dry, clean clothes, something that's warm, so that you're not cold, you don't go into hypothermia. He'll come and give you something to eat and to drink because, you're probably famished from being out in the water, out in the ocean water. And he just takes care of you, And then when you get on shore, if you need him to, he'll even find you a job. He just takes care of you. He saves you. He brings you on board. But he'll give you a job. He'll take from the ship. He'll take everybody that just got pulled out of the water, that wanted it saved, that wanted out of the water. He'll take you back to shore, and he'll get you settled. If you need an apartment, he'll get you an apartment, someplace to live. He'll give you a job so you can make a livelihood, an occupation. And it's just a whole new life for you. Here you were lost in the ocean with nothing. And then he gives you everything. He saves you, brings you on board, gives you dry, warm, clean clothes, food, water, a place to live. He takes you back on land, gives you a place to live, and gives you a job and an occupation. That's what came to me. When you get saved, the Lord gives you an occupation. I don't know what it is. Everybody has their own mission, their own talents, their own strengths, something that you're good at. And if you feel like you're not good at anything, then just pray and ask the Lord to reveal to you, because, he made you. He knows what you're good at. And maybe you don't see it yet in yourself, but if you pray about it, the Lord will reveal it to you. Or he'll, show you through past experiences, or he'll just bring something to mind, things that you have always loved to do. And, maybe that's your mission, that's your strong suit. So he'll give you an occupation. And when you get saved, you go into that. You go into some kind of ministry, some kind of mission, some kind of job for him. And it's always to help your brethren, to help mankind. It's not necessarily teaching. Not all of us are called to be teachers of other people. But you might be more of an emotional person. Somebody who just likes to go to hospitals and kind of uplift and encourage sick people, or the downtrodden, the depressed, kind of uplift them. You might be somebody who just likes to love people. So maybe that is your strong suit, or if you like arts and crafts, and maybe you like to like make blankets for children in orphanages because they don't have parents, or just whatever things that you like to do. There's some kind of an occupation that the Lord will give you after he saves you and brings you on the ship and then puts you on land. And then today, that was what came to me yesterday when I was going for my walk outside. And then today, I went over to my dad's house and I was helping him out. We had to rake the leaves and put them in the bags, because the garbage guy is coming on Monday just for leaves, not regular trash. It was just for leaves. So we were working together to get that done, and that was a pretty big job actually. And then I was using the leaf blower, for like the sidewalk. And then I was also cutting the grass for my dad. So it was while I was doing all this stuff that just it was like the Lord was just, things were just going through my head. I don't know. But I was using the leaf blower, and I got to thinking how it's true. Christianity, it teaches you, the demons, the doctrines of demons. It's like the video that Anna was talking about yesterday, how we are taught in Christianity to go without, to deny ourselves when the whole world is beautiful, what the Lord created for us, and nobody's enjoying it because they're seeing the world as this dark, wicked, evil place, touch not, taste not, things like that, and don't engage with it. But you're missing out on so much. The Lord wants you to be happy. He wants you to have a life, and if you have the Lord's law in you and His love in you, then you're going to be okay, because you'll be able to go into the world and you'll know the difference. Because you'll have law and love in you already. So there's nothing to fear, really. And what came to me is, it's because we've been taught in Christianity to go without, and to deny ourselves and stuff like that, that we're like the one talent person, guys. The person who had their talents, but they hid it in the ground, thinking that the world was wicked and evil and don't get involved, don't get engaged in it and things like that. And really what we need to be is a 10-talent person, somebody who uses their gifts and goes out in the world and actually helps their fellow mankind. And right now we're switching over. The Lord's kingdom, when it comes down to this earth, right now it seems like it's a gradual transition, because the Lord is moving His kingdom in already, and He's moving the darkness kingdom out. I mean, you can just sort of see it if you have eyes to see it. You can see the progress that the Lord, He's moving His kingdom in, and the darkness kingdom is slowly moving out. So, like a cup, its water level is going down. As the air up top gets heavier, it pushes the water down below, lower, 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 until there's all air in the cup and no more water. Well, water is the so-called darkness kingdom, and air is the Lord's kingdom, and He's just pushing it down. So eventually the cup's going to be full of air, full of the Lord's kingdom, and there's not going to be any water or dark kingdom anymore. And since He's moving that in, what came to me is that we're actually supposed to have businesses. And actually I just now thought about this, but this sort of ties in with Anna's video about opening up shop. We're supposed to have a business. I mean, we're talking about a spiritual business in Anna's video, but it's, we should have something productive, like a ministry or a business or something. We should be entrepreneurs and be our own bosses and have something, some kind of business that we're running that is helping mankind. And whether it makes money or it's just voluntary, it doesn't matter. It's just we should really have something, and that is a 10-talent person. Somebody who is actually out there doing something for their fellow man, and not hiding their talents in the ground like the 1-talent person, saying, oh, I'm not going to get involved with the world because everything out there is dark and wicked and evil. Guys, what's going to happen is the Lord's kingdom is going to come in, and you're not going to have a business. You're going to be one of those people that the Lord's going to say, what have you done with my talent? Nothing, Lord. I hid it in the ground. I buried it in the ground. I didn't do nothing with it. And, the ground is the earth, is the world, guys. Don't hide your talents. because in the world, or like in the earth where you can't see it, and nobody can prosper from it, nobody can benefit from it because you've buried it somewhere, because you don't want to get involved with the world. It's true what Anna said in the video yesterday, because that came to me today too. Not that, but we're going back to Egypt, guys. We're going back to the world. Moses left Egypt. He learned about the Lord for 40 years, and then God sent him back too. Why would we be any different? We're not. He's going to be sending us back to Egypt also. And we're going to rule and reign and take over the businesses in Egypt, because Israel is true and faithful, versus the Canaanites are not. The Canaanites are running this world for their own benefit, for their own pride and ego. Israel will run a business rightly for the benefit of all mankind. And that's another way that God is moving out the darkness kingdom, and he's moving in his light kingdom. I put a comment on Anna's video yesterday. I actually made a video of it too. It was September 27th. It was something that came to me. I was looking at a football stadium actually, and it came to me that all these big places, like these high rises and big buildings and football stadiums, and all the big companies of the world, eventually the Lord's going to move them out, and he's going to move Israel in, and Israel is going to take over these companies. So you have to prove yourself that you're true and faithful, and that you know how to run a business, and then God will give you more, because the guy who had 10 talents, God ended up giving him 10 more. Plus the 1 talent guy, he gave him his talent too. So if you prove yourself true and faithful in the little things, then God will give you the bigger things. And eventually this whole world's going to be taken over by the Lord's kingdom, and darkness will be moved out. So we want to prove ourselves true and faithful in the little things, and then God is going to eventually move us into the bigger things which are out in the world. And keep in mind also that in Israel of old, when God had them leave Israel and go through the wilderness, they were going to go into the land of Canaan. And they were told that they wouldn't have to dig anything, plant anything, build any houses. They wouldn't have to do anything, because the Canaanites had already done it. And God was just going to move the Canaanites out, and then Israel would move in. Well, this is the present day version of that, guys. God had the Canaanites build up this whole world with their companies and their high rises and everything like that. He had the Canaanites, he is so clever. He had the Canaanites do all the work, and then he's going to move them out, darkness out, and he's going to move us in. So in essence, they did all the work for us. Which is so funny. The Lord, he's so clever. And but that's what came to me when I saw that football stadium on September 27th. And Anna was talking about something like that yesterday, and that's why it came to mind. But yeah, today it came to me about, we're supposed to have a business, some kind of occupation, something. Don't hide your talent in the ground, saying the world is wicked and evil, so I don't want nothing to do with it. Find out your talent. If you've been saved, the Lord will give you a new occupation. If you're not working in your occupation right now, or you don't know what it is, pray over it. But find something to do for the betterment and the benefit of mankind. Okay, you do not want to be a 1-talent person when the Lord comes back and says, what did you do with your talent or your gift, or what your strength is, what you are good at. And you tell him, I did nothing because, I was fearful, and because the world was wicked, and I just didn't want to get involved with the world. Guys, we're gonna get in trouble with that kind of mindset. And I know that's how Christianity has taught us, but you don't want to stay there. So hopefully this helped. Take care. God bless, and have a good evening. Okay? Okay, bye-bye.